Okay, we're going to get started. Welcome, everyone. My name is Henry Rondon. I am the CIAC liaison for softball. Again, I welcome everyone to the 2026 season. Again, as you are coming into the meeting, I will uh, tell everyone to please be muted as you come into the meeting and stay muted if you can. Again, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat and we will be more than happy to answer them for you. So again, I welcome everyone to the 2026 season. I'm glad that the weather has turned and that everyone hopefully is getting the best opportunities possible to get outside, to practice, to scrimmage, to basically get yourselves going as the season begins this year. Again, as always, I'm speaking for all of my colleagues and a lot of your administrators. First thing that we'd like to do is really thank you for what you do for high school athletics. The fact that you, of course, are giving of your time, regardless of your stipend, to basically service these young student athletes, to basically give them an opportunity to go out there, again, show off their skills, but more importantly, to really take part in educational based athletics, which is really the most important piece of what happens here. So again, we'd like to thank you for your work, and hopefully your seasons all go as well as they can. Uh, Basically, from my piece, just the one item that I really would like to point out, and really I'm asking for really your help with this as best as we can, is really the games and really reporting games. So, very simply, the only item that really comes from me is that what we would like to see from the softball schools is that we would really like to see the reporting be up to date. So, unfortunately, we run into some situations where, as we're coming to the end of the season, and of course, the way that we do seeding, and please understand that it doesn't matter whether you are 19-1 or you are 2-18, whatever the case might be. When you have played other teams that are in the tournament, you are affecting the seeding of the tournament. So we ask you to please stay up to date with your scoring. Again, we do not necessarily want to go back to a game that was played in April and a score that wasn't inputted. So we're really just asking you to stay up to date with the scoring. Um, be as accurate as you can be, but again, understand that whatever your record is, you're you're not putting in scores is affecting the seeding of the tournament. So basically, all we're asking you is to stay up to date. Again, we're going to do the best that we can. If we see a score that has not been inputted, to contact your school and to get that score inputted. But again, we would like to see that get done. So again, for my part, that's really the big item that I needed to address. But again, good luck to everyone. I look forward to going to the games and to seeing everyone playing. And hopefully the weather continues to be as well as it can be, and we can have as less issues as possible this year with the games. With that being said, I'm going to turn it over to our committee chair, Dana Mulligan from Woodland High School. Dana.
Thank you, Henry. Just wanted to say how exciting it is to be back outside with everybody. I'm really looking forward to this season. I want to give a special thanks to all the CIAC softball committee members for all their work during the off season, getting things prepared for another exciting season, as well specifically to Trish Wicken for all of her work in organizing a great tournament last year, and another exciting tournament is going to take place this year. I'm looking forward to a season filled with good sportsmanship and even better softball. So if there's any questions at any time, or if you have any concerns, please don't hesitate to reach out to any of the committee members. That's what we're here for, to assist with those types of things. And at this point, I would turn it over to Hank, because he's going to be going over our rules and interpretations for us. So thank you and best of luck to everyone.
Okay, Henry, are you going to share your screen with the PowerPoint? Hey, looks like we're going. Okay, that's it. All right, thank you. Can you go to the next slide, please? Oh, and keep going. We won't cover these at this point. This is National Federation information, so keep scrolling, Henry, please. Keep going. Keep going. Uh, okay, go one more, okay? Um, If you look at this National Softball Rules Committee, I was on this a few years ago. Trish was on it a few years ago. Joining now, I believe, and going for the next 2 or 3 years, or maybe even four, is Scott Oresco. So Connecticut has been well representative on this rules committee, and congratulations to Scott. And if you would keep going, Henry, keep going. That's what's available. This is all National Federation news. And I believe Scott has a copy of this and is going to send it to everybody as well. So keep going till we get to the rules part, please. And keep going. And there it is. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Okay, folks. Basically, what this change is not a change, it's just to emphasize that the only digital communications we can have is from the coach or the dugout to the catcher. And it's one way, and that's the only people that can communicate digitally. It is not okay for anybody on the field, any players on the field, to communicate to the dugout or with each other. It's just a no no. Oh, we got a chat already. Let me just take a look and see if that's for me. Uh, we'll have to look at these later. Okay. Uh, let's go to the next one. All right. Rule 8, which involves the batter runner and runners. Wording has been changed in the rule book and switched around and put in more places, different places to make it easier to read, but there are absolutely no changes here for 2026. Can we go to the next slide, please? Umpires at some point this year will be changing over to charcoal gray pants. All right, this doesn't really affect coaches. Uh, it will become mandatory that they wear charcoal gray pants and beginning in 2027. As the year goes on, you're going to see umpires in both colored gray pants, both heather and charcoal. Uh, the National Federation has been good enough to us umpires that we don't have to buy pants this year. We can wear out what we have this year and just match our partners. Whoa! Okay. Next slide, please. Uh, can you go back? Okay. Here we go. Editorial changes. Again, these are not changes. They're just wording issues that have come up. Okay, so we can go just to the next one, which is uniforms. Um, the language has been moved in the book and it stays consistent with what is allowed, not just in softball, but in baseball, basketball, soccer, football, maybe not football, but all the other sports. It's just been put in a different place in the rule book. Can we go on further? A forfeited game now. If you are the coach where you are ahead and we have an official game when the game is forfeited, The final score would not be 7-0. It would be whatever the score is at this point. I'm not sure that affects us in Connecticut at all, but that's a rule change in National Federation. Can we go next? Headbands, very simple. It's again a clarification, but headbands can be mixed, can be matched, and can be any color by any of the players wearing a headband. That's what's now allowed. Let's go to the next one. Points of emphasis. Okay, let's go. Okay, obstruction. Obstruction. Please understand that the act of obstruction by a defensive teammate member is something that hinders or impedes the batter runner or the runner either on a pitched ball or running the bases. Okay. Of interest here is the signal, which is the delayed dead ball signal, and the umpire should also verbalize that's obstruction. Remember that obstruction is a delayed dead ball, and it doesn't become dead until certain events happen. So the penalty is not going to happen, is not going to be enforced until the play is over. Okay, next slide, please. Okay. Please note, if the runner is not impeded, there is no obstruction, okay? With the exception of the fake tag, okay? But the positioning of a player ahead of the play in the path of a base runner, ahead of the play that is blocking that runner, that fielder has not obstructed yet until that runner is impeded in some fashion. And the next the next slide will kind of explain that a little bit better. Okay? So impeding a runner means creating a negative effect on that runner, okay? And that could be a runner slowing down, okay? A runner altering their intended path, stopping altogether, retreating or going back, okay? Or notice it is also sometimes they have to make contact, not malicious, with a fielder during their movements, because that fielder is in the path, the base path of the offensive player, the runner, and that runner has nowhere else to go. Okay. Let's go to the next slide, and I'll get to a little point here. Okay. All right. I want to go back to obstruction. If the runner is rounding third and has not yet been obstructed and is less than halfway and probably less than 20 feet from home plate, and they see the catcher without the ball in the base path, blocking the base path, but the runner is just rounding third, and she stops, it wasn't that catcher's fault for being in the base path that caused her to stop, and that would not be obstruction. If she stopped and went back to third, that's not obstruction. If it happens in that first 2/3, it's when she gets closer to home plate and then has to make some kind of adjustment. She is hindered by the catcher without the ball. Now we have obstruction. So the position of the fielder without the ball is not obstructing until the runner gets close enough to be obstructed. Coaches, please coach your base runners to understand that. Okay, let's go to the next one, please. We'll go back. Go back. You got to go backwards. I think it was one more, wasn't it? One more, Henry, maybe? No, you were right. I'm wrong. Maintaining an unobstructed view is a change in the umpire manual. Umpires have been for years told to get 90 degrees from where the play is going to happen. And we're still going to do that, but that's the starting point for the umpire. From there, the umpire has to make a secondary movement, either left or right, to get a position where the umpire is not straight lined, and the umpire can see the fielder's position. Okay, the location and the direction from where the throw is coming from the runner's path, and then the timing of the throw and the tag as it's happening as the tag is happening when they get close. You may have heard in basketball called straight lining, which is bad for the referee on the block charge. Well, it's the same on a tag play for the umpires in softball. And if we could go to the next slide, please. Okay, so this is the play at the plate, but this can happen everywhere. The plate up, the P and the dark circle is the initial position that the umpire would take so that they can get 90 degrees from the play. But then as the throw comes in and the ball comes in, to get all those items in front of the umpire, they have to move either left or right. Can you get back there all the way down, Henry? There was one thing I wanted to mention here. Okay, thank you. Go to the next one, I think. Go back one. Thank you. Thank you. Well, we actually saw that one. Okay, go to the next one. Okay. So this is just to explain to the umpires that they need to get where they can see the entire play, and then timing becomes important as well because they have to make sure the tag is applied and possession of the ball is maintained. So you may and should see a slight delay before a runner is called out. And if the runner is still moving and the ball is on the ground, the umpires should wait until that runner has the base, the ball is on the ground, and that runner has stopped moving before they call the person safe. Okay, and that might be the last one, or there might be one more. That's it. That's all we have this year. I guess the game is in good shape, and I don't know what's in the chat, but if there's any questions there for me, I'll be happy to answer them. Okay? I see a mention in the chat that the umpires were telling the coaches that they would strictly enforce the 1 minute rule. We are not going to strictly enforce the 1 minute rule. However, We did in some parts of the state, it was not done well last year, and this was brought up at the umpires meeting. And the pace of the game is important, and a minute and 15 seconds, a minute and 20 seconds. Uh, we'll be asking the catcher to, or a minute and 10 seconds. We'll be telling the pitcher one more pitch, throw it down, and let's get started. Okay. I see another one on here about the double bag. The double bag at first base was not passed this year. I think it will be next year. And I know Scott is, I know that the coaches in Connecticut are absolutely would like to see the double bag being allowed. And I'm sure that it will be a topic of discussion that Scott will work on and work with at the national meeting next year.
And if I can a second, I can absolutely address that in terms of what happens with the NFHS, so that you all have an understanding with the NFHS. They have a committee just like we do in the state of Connecticut, and very simply, what states do is that states will, of course, put forth their own proposals. Rule proposals, and of course, as you can imagine, the NFHS does receive a number of rule proposals. And when it comes to the double base, because I'm also involved with baseball, baseball has been talking about this for a while. Obviously, as you can see in college baseball, they use the double base. So, of course, in 2027, of course, baseball will be going to this for high school. Very simply, at the national level, when it was discussed in terms of the why, very simply, um, it really had not been proposed to any national level. And therefore, I think Hank is correct. It probably now will be proposed, and I am sure that it will be coming shortly to answer your questions. Okay.
Thank you. I see Chris Martin again.
Um, so So it is an NFHS decision. So we are an NFHS state. So basically, we will follow what the NFHS does. So, Chris, if you're talking about the double base, yes, we basically are going to wait until the NFHS does it. Like I said, I think this is coming. So I don't think it's anything that we have too much to worry about. It's going to probably take a couple years. Yes, Hank is right. You're probably staring at 2028. Obviously, what the NFHS likes to do is, in a case like this, because there are schools that are going to have to implement this, they usually give you 2 years to fully implement it, and then we go. All right, so what happens when there is a double base and it can't be removed? Very simply, again, we've been dealing this a little bit with baseball as well. What we do in that situation is, if a field has a double base, you do not remove it, obviously, for safety reasons of the student athlete. What basically you do is you play with the regular base. The one that is in foul territory does not count as a base, but you do not remove it, because obviously, for safety reasons, you just play as you would play regular. You just would have to make your student athletes understand that second base, that outside base, is not necessarily in play. So just understand that, but you do not want it to be removed whatsoever. Go ahead, Hank. You have this question here. Are umpires being reminded to watch for first baseman obstructing the base path, because that happens far more often than it is called?
I agree that it uh, does happen much more than it is called, and it should be called every time. The umpires are told to do it, to make the call every time, and then simply say, in most cases, that's obstruction. The award is first base because it's not because in the judgment of the umpire that most of the time that runner will not get second base even though they were obstructed. Okay, and then say something to the first baseman like, first baseman, if you don't have a play, you need to be out of the way. Yes, the umpires were reminded. And I think I'm done, Henry, unless there's something in the chat that needs to be handled.
Thank you. And if anybody has any questions, as you know, after the meeting's over, if something comes up, again, you can always reach out to anybody on the committee and we will get you an answer. Next up is going to be tournament information from Trish.
All right. Thank you so much, Dana. Thank you everyone for being here this evening. I'm just going to keep my remarks brief. I will be sending out emails as the season progresses and certainly throughout the tournament. Just piggybacking on something that Henry was talking about earlier regarding entering scores. At the same time, it would be really important for you to check with your athletic director to make sure that all of the games that are listed on your schedule are marked as eligible. You don't want to have 21 games on your schedule, and it will create issues later. And since the regular season gets underway on Saturday, you have a couple of days to get that adjusted. While you're in there with your athletic directors, please make sure that your graduation and prom dates are entered. They are really important as we get down into the tournament and are making some plans for games and locations. Like last year, if there are any quarterfinal games that are being played on Saturday, that's the rain date this year, those will be played prior to 3 p.m. That gives us turnaround time to get the next round underway, and it allows our officials assigner to have our umpires scheduled. Semifinals, we are excited to be returning to West Haven High School, and we are in talks with Eastern to return there for the other semifinal games. And I was speaking with their athletic director recently. They have put in a whole new complex now, and it's turf, and it's going to be a nice location. So we're working out some of those details, and we'll report back when that's final. That's it for me. Just have a great season and looking forward to another great tournament.
Thanks, Trish. At this point, if there's any additional questions, if there's anything you want to put into the chat, because at this point we would be turning this meeting over to Scott for your coaches meeting.
Just there's one more question in the chat. So I was an assistant coach last year, and I'm now the head coach. We had a couple of scenarios last year when our fielder had caught the ball well in advance of the runner. The fielder went to tag the runner, and obstruction was called. I want to be able to explain to my players what to do in that situation. Do you see the question, Hank?
I'm not sure if Hank's on anymore.
I'm
He's
still
still
here.
on.
I'm still here. I did not see the question, but Henry, the way that you explained it, it just sounds like poor officiating to me. Okay? If once again, if that fielder has the ball, that fielder is entitled to block the base path of a runner in order to make a tag. And that is not obstructing when you have the ball.
Thank you.
Thank you for the clarification on that. I just I wasn't sure last year because we didn't really know how to demonstrate that with the players, but we had a game specifically where two calls were called back to back of obstruction, and the player on second base had the ball well before the runner was there and went to make the tag, and they called obstruction. And I just couldn't, I want to make sure that I was not misinterpreting that, but I just didn't know how to coach them up differently. And then ironically, it happened twice in the same game in a couple plays. So, all right, thank you for that.
Okay. Does this mean that any throw ball that takes the first baseman into the runner's path qualifies as obstruction?
Uh, Again, did that move of the thrown ball before it reaches the first baseman hinder the movement of the runner running to first base? And if the first baseman did not have the ball and that throw was offline and it caused the runner, the batter runner, to stop or move or adjust their movement because they were hindered by the action of the first baseman without the ball, that would be obstruction.
Thank you, Hank. All right, I'll just give it another minute, look for any other questions. But again, I would reiterate what was said in the beginning, and thank you, Trish, for pointing that out. Just please make sure that, again, games are labeled properly. Scrimmages are scrimmages, games are games. Again, if you are playing for whatever reason out of state, please ensure that if this is if it's a game, if it's a regular season game, that it is labeled and that it is on your schedule. All right. If it's a scrimmage, it should be labeled a scrimmage. If not, it should be a regular season game. At the end of the game, the score should be entered. Extremely, extremely important. Again, in seating, as I mentioned earlier. All right. With that being said, I'm going to turn it over to Scott Oresco. Again, thank you to Hank, Dana, and Trish for all the work that they do for softball here in the state of Connecticut. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Scott. Just one reminder that the meeting is being recorded. So, again, if you missed any portion of it, we will get it up on the softball website in the next couple days. If for whatever reason you rewatch it and you have a question, feel free to email me. Again, if I cannot ask your question, I will be very, very happy to forward it to someone who can and get you the response as quickly as possible. So, again, thank you to everyone.